Most soldiers are trained to fight men. But what happens when you're out of ammo, starving, and trapped in the woods with something that doesn't bleed? Skull. In 2026, War Machine gave us the most terrifying one-man army story ever told. It's not just an action movie, it's a masterclass in survival physics. Today, we're breaking down the story of 81, a man who had to choose between his trauma and the survival of the human race. Strap in, because by the end, you'll realize the scariest weapon on a battlefield isn't a gun. It's a man with nothing left to lose. Shield fire. The story opens in Afghanistan, with an unnamed staff sergeant arriving to help his brother's broken-down convoy. As they step out of the truck, the tension between them is immediate. They act like they might fight, testing each other, pushing boundaries. Then they laugh, show off their tattoos, and tease each other. A brief moment of levity before the chaos begins. It's a fleeting glimpse of their bond, playful and real, but it also makes what comes next all the more devastating. No words are needed here, just the brotherhood and the weight of what's at stake. Suddenly, Taliban insurgents strike. The convoy is ambushed, and everyone except the staff sergeant is killed. He suffers a knee injury but doesn't hesitate. He lifts his mortally wounded brother and attempts to carry him back to base. Step by grueling step, he pushes forward, each movement a fight against his body and exhaustion. The desert stretches endlessly, the heat and dust burning every nerve. Within sight of the base, just 100 yards from safety, his body collapses. He passes out and wakes up in the hospital to learn his brother has died. Despite the personal tragedy, he is awarded the Silver Star, but the emotional wound lingers, shaping the man he will become. 2 years later, the staff sergeant joins RASP, earning the candidate number 81. He excels in training but keeps to himself, refusing to bond with his fellow recruits and declining the team leader role despite his record. During the underwater exercise, he allows himself to nearly drown, and regiment leaders Sergeant Major Sheridan and First Sergeant Torres question his mental state. They suggest he step down to recuperate from his PTSD, but 81 refuses. His resilience is tested at every turn, and while he proves his skill, it's clear that his trauma still lingers. Eventually, they allow him to continue and assign him as team leader for the final simulated mission, to destroy a classified aircraft and rescue its pilot. During the final exercise, the team is startled by an unknown blast in the sky that knocks out communications. They follow the source and find a strange object by the creek, believing it to be the classified aircraft. After detonating it with explosives, it remains undamaged. The object begins to transform into a massive walking machine. At first, the recruits are confused, but fear quickly sets in. Blank rounds and training gear leave them defenseless, and the machine begins hunting them efficiently. The sense of dread builds, and the stakes become life or death instantly. The machine reveals itself fully, a 10-foot-tall, bipedal nightmare moving without hesitation. It begins to harvest energy from its surroundings, powering its plasma weapon as it attacks. One by one, the recruits are picked off, with only 81 and a handful of survivors, 7, 15, 44, 109, and 23, left alive. 7 is severely wounded, forcing the others to carry him, creating tension and human stakes in the midst of chaos. The forest seems almost alive with danger, the silence amplified by the machine's relentless hunting. 81 begins analyzing the machine's behavior. Its armor is impenetrable, and its attacks are methodical, almost intelligent. He notices its energy patterns and deduces that it operates with a limitation, an exhaust cycle dictated by thermodynamics. Every shot it fires, every movement, generates heat that eventually must be released. He shares his observation with the remaining team members. Their survival now depends not on brute force, but on using the environment and physics against it. They escape downriver and find traces of devastation leading back up to the mountaintop, realizing the machine is extraterrestrial. The team attempts to reach base in an APC, but the machine continues the chase, demonstrating it adapts to every tactic. While evading the machine, 81's team discovers live ammunition, but quickly realizes that direct attacks won't penetrate its armor. The APC is destroyed, taking most of the team with it. Only 81 and 7 remain. The machine sends a signal into space, revealing that more of its kind are coming. At this point, tension peaks. Survival depends entirely on ingenuity. 81 observes the machine closely, identifying a ventilation system as its weakness. This sets up the climactic confrontation. 81 lures the machine toward a construction site and begins the final assault. He pours rocks into the ventilation system, forcing the machine to overheat. Energy builds uncontrollably within the machine, causing it to destabilize. 81 narrowly escapes as the machine explodes, a combination of intelligence and raw courage triumphing over overwhelming force. He carries 7 back to base, completing the mission. The footage shows that the asteroid they saw earlier was not debris. It was a precursor to an army of machines. Sheridan and Torres confirm that a global attack has begun. 81 is accepted into the regiment and assigned to lead the next assault against the extraterrestrial threat. As the machine turns into a localized supernova, 81-foot finally carries his wounded teammate across the RASP finish line. He finally made those last 100 yards that he failed in Kandahar. From a cinematic perspective, director Patrick Hughes has created a brilliant metaphor for PTSD and resilience. Notice the use of sound design throughout the forest scenes. The complete silence isn't just for tension. It's a scientific clue that the machine is thermal harvesting, literally sucking the kinetic energy out of the environment. This is a 10 out of 10 masterclass in visual storytelling. Instead of explaining the monster's power through dialogue, the filmmakers show us through the cooling vents and the purple frost. My advice to you after watching this is simple. Energy never dies, it only moves. Like 81, we must learn to channel our darkest moments into a force for survival. If this deep dive into the physics and the filmmaking behind War Machine added value to your day, please hit that like button. It tells the YouTube algorithm that you value high-quality, transformative movie analysis. We are on a massive mission to reach our first 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you in the Billionz family makes a difference. If you want more daily movie recaps and educational critiques of the world's most shocking stories, please subscribe and hit that bell. Thank you for watching until the very end. We'll see you in the next story.